is that over and over and over again, we are being offered the same opportunities, the same situations, and the same circumstances, and they're having different outcomes. The outcomes are 180 degrees shifted. They are polarity outcomes. They are very different from the outcomes of the original experience. I'm seeing this happen to many people, and as we consciously recognize these experiences, and we're able to consciously move in with discernment and say, I recognize this pattern and I see exactly what it is that's happening. Through the Essene traditions, through the Essene sciences, we are offered the 7 mysteries of personal relationship. And I've just shared with you the first 2. The first 2 mysteries, the mirror, the Essene mirror of the mystery of judgment. The things that I judged were being mirrored back to me by the people who were demonstrating to me those things that I judged, the 3 people that came into my life. The first mirror, the mirror of the things that we are in a moment. As someone mirrors back to us that which we are in the moment, if we have the wisdom to recognize that mirror, we have the wisdom to see a powerful portion of ourselves being unveiled as we are seeking to find those pieces of ourselves and move toward the wholeness that gracefully carries us through this time in our lives. So I offer you these examples as concrete examples of how these relationships come about. No one flashes a big neon sign and says, here comes the mystery of the first mirror of judgment, or the Essene mystery of the mirror of that which you are in the moment. It doesn't happen that way. These mysteries sneak up on you, usually when you will least expect it. What I've discovered for many people is that they are experiencing what for them are the worst fears, the worst times they could ever imagine happen in their lives. And everyone's worst fear is different. For some people, a worst fear may be the loss of a loved one, or those that they hold most dear, because their worst fear is the fear of being alone. While the person next to them has no problem being alone, for them, their worst fear may be the loss of physical vitality and health within their bodies, or the loss of finances, or the ability to generate those finances. Everyone's worst fear is different. And as I work with people, as I have over the years, and as I work with clients in years past, what I have seen personally is also reflected through the Essene texts. And it simply goes like this. Whatever it is that's happening in your life in this moment, whatever that is, when you reach a crisis in your life, it's a time that the ancients called the dark night of the soul. In the dark night of the soul, you will be faced with what for you appear to be the greatest challenges ever of your life. And what the Essene texts say is this, is that it is impossible for you to create for yourself, to draw into your life the circumstances and the situations that give you, that provide you the dark night of the soul, until you have amassed to yourself all the tools that will carry you gracefully through that experience. It's impossible. It's impossible for you to create those experiences, because it is in the amassing of the tools. As you go through the relationships, as you go through the experiences, you develop the arsenal and the array of tools within you. It's not until you have assimilated those tools, that assimilation is the trigger for creation to bring into you the opportunity to demonstrate your mastery of your worst fears. And that's the way it works. You will go through many, many relationships. You'll go through many, many experiences. Sometimes they take years. Sometimes they take months. And suddenly you'll be faced with what for you is the most tremendous challenge of your life. When that happens, what I will say to you is congratulations. In the amassing of the tools, that experience is not possible until you know that you have everything you need to gracefully move through that time in your life. You know this. Your mother probably said this to you when you were young. She probably said, you will never have more on your plate than you're able to deal with. God never gives you more than you are able to deal with. And I believe that's precisely where these funny old sayings that our parents and their parents offered them. It was through that wisdom of the Essene traditions. When we have the opportunity to demonstrate, many people say they feel like they're being tested. They may be perceived as tests, and just as easily, the opportunities may be perceived simply as that, as opportunities to demonstrate the mastery of emotion and the mastery of feeling, the mastery of that which you have become. As we go through the 3-day workshops, there are several things that I offer, several single lines, I believe, of knowledge that help to anchor concepts, help people remember the things that we have talked about. We've covered a tremendous amount of very technical, in some cases, very esoteric in some cases, very right-brained in some cases, information. And the reality is that we do not have to know any of these things. In the complexity of our being, we are extremely complex beings. In the complexity of our being lies the simplicity, that all we have to do is be. If you're familiar with a Macintosh computer, for example, you know that when you place a little arrow on an image and you simply push a button, and all these things happen on that computer, for you to have that degree of simplicity, some very complex things have happened behind the scenes. Well, you and I work in a very similar fashion. In the complexity of who and what we've come to be lies the simplicity that all we have to do is be. All we have to do is have the experience. Well, it is through that simplicity that I am able to say to you the following things. As you live your life, day in and day out, what I can say to you is this, that you have the opportunity to observe all life as it unfolds around you, and you will primarily experience those things that you identify most with. You will see everything happening in the world as it unfolds, as we barrel down this road toward the shift of the ages. What do you identify with? Do you identify with the joy and the light and the goodness and the beauty of what this world is all about? Or are you focused on the things that you do not like? Is that what your identity, where your identity lies? Those are the things that you're being asked to determine in your life. I can say to you this, that as you learn and as you remember the truth of what your world and what your life is all about, it is important in the learning to not be caught in the box of what you have learned in the past, to not be limited by what you have been taught. Take the knowledge that you have been taught and allow it to become a pivotal point to move beyond that which you've been taught, to move into the world of that which is not yet experienced and not yet known. Allow that in your life. I can say to you this, I can say that because and through the laws of creation, the laws of electrical and magnetic interactions, the laws of attraction between opposites, I can say this, that which you most choose to have in your life, the love and the nurturing and the compassion, the companionship and the honesty and the integrity, that which you most choose to have in your life, it's not enough to want them. If you want them, you simply will allow yourself to want and want and want. That which you most choose to have in your life, you must first become. You must become that which you choose to have in your life. You must become the peace that you choose to have in your world. You must become the compassion that you choose to have in your world. You must become the forgiveness that you so desire for your loved ones and your families. And in that becoming, you then are the living bridge to those that you hold most dear, as you live and demonstrate the truth of what your life has become. You must become the things that you most choose to have in your life. The opportunity and the mechanism that allows all of us to become those things are the relationships that we have with one another and the opportunity to emote and feel in our lives.